What's up, RotoGrinders? This is TJ Zwarych. Happy weekend. It's time for some NFL pre-lock. Got a 3-game slate for Saturday. Wonky week of football with football on Wednesday, football on Thursday, football on Saturday, football on Sunday, football on Monday. It just never ends. We got football all the time. Joined by my guy, Tim Buell, TastefulTides, Shiver Me Timbo. How you doing today, Tim?
Yeah, I'm doing well, TJ. Always nice to see you. Always nice to do these Saturday, football shows. I think they're kind of fun. I mean, usually we get the random 2-game slates, but this kind of feels. I like this 3-game look. It's kind of reminds me of Thanksgiving, so it's kind of I kind of like how the games are staggered, and I don't know. So it's gonna be a fun one to break down. We've got some really clear and obvious chalk, I think, and I think we need to talk about some ways to maybe still play that chalk, but maybe build our lineups in a different way, so that way we can get a little bit different from the field. You are on mute, sir.
Oh, I don't even know how that happened. I don't think I muted. If you got any questions on today's slate, drop them in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. I'll be going there first. I'll be going to the YouTube chat second. YouTube, smash the like button. We got free content on a Saturday. All we ask you to do is hit the like button. If you subscribe, you want to hit the notification bell, that's great. But as long as you're hitting the like button, we are happy. We got 3 games today. We got the Chargers and the Patriots leading us off. We got probably definitely the most exciting one of the day. The Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals both fighting for playoff position as the second game. And then we have the Rams and the Cardinals leading things off. Rams can make a big splash in the playoff push if they win tonight. So we got an exciting 3 games here. First one less so probably than the next 2. But still, Chargers are needing to win this one to secure some playoff position. So should still be fun. Which of these 3 games stand out for you? How do you plan on attacking this slate?
Yeah, so I mean, I think obviously the most fantasy friendly game is going to be the Arizona Los Angeles game. Despite the fact that they don't have as high total as Denver Cincinnati, I still think that this game has a lot. Feel a little bit more confident that this game shoots out. So I think the Arizona and Rams game is going to be a game that I target pretty heavily. This Chargers Patriots game, it looks awful on paper, and it's probably going to be an awful real life game, but I think it's extremely important game for DFS, because we're going to have massive chalk on J.K. Dobbins, especially on FanDuel, given the fact that he's min-priced. I was kind of saying to TJ before the show, I'm not really sure he's that great of a tournament play. And TJ said, well, but it's the Patriots. And I was like, yeah, that is true. I'm just worried that if he doesn't find, the end zone and he gets you 10 points, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be enough, and if you can get a little bit different with your FanDuel builds. I don't know. But I mean, if you're playing cash over there, he's a cash game lock. He's probably really on DraftKings as well as pretty strong cash game play at 5.8. But I think this game is really important because we have the Booty situation. He's going to be pretty popular. I think Justin Herbert's going to be fairly popular as well. Lad McConkey, he's going to be fairly chalky. So I mean, this game is going to get some ownership. So I think it's a pretty important game, even though it looks like such a dud on paper.
Yeah, I got even on DraftKings where he's 5,800. I'm currently going Dobbins in all 3 of my lineups. He fits really well, and I want to go the 3 running back builds. All 3 of my lineups that I'm running are going Chase Brown, J.K. Dobbins, Kyren Williams in them, and then I'm finding ways to differentiate at the receiver and tight end position on this slate. But let's start breaking it down. We'll go position by position here on both FanDuel and DraftKings, and then we will take your questions. RotoGrinders live stream Discord, YouTube chat, as long as we're smashing the like button. As long as we get enough questions going up to lock, we'll keep it going to lock. If not, we'll get out of here a little early, give you some extra time to build your lineups. First off, at the quarterback position on DraftKings, Justin Herbert is projecting as the highest optimal rate but it's Joe Burrow that's coming in far higher owned than Justin Herbert is projecting right now. Herbert with a 22.9% optimal rate projected for 16.9% ownership. Burrow 16.8% optimal rate, 26% ownership. I still find myself liking Burrow best. I don't have any Herbert in my 3 lineups. I'm going Burrow in 1, Nix in 1. Pardon me, got the hiccups, and Drake May in the other.
Yeah, so I would, if I was making 3, I'd go definitely 1 Drake May. I would probably go, and then probably go Herbert and Burrow. But I mean, Burrow is looking like he's going to be a little bit overowned. I think the Sims are kind of telling us that his ceiling, when price adjusted, doesn't quite hold up because of that big salary, discrepancy. So I think Herbert's probably your cash game quarterback today. You don't necessarily have to pair him with anybody in cash, but I think in GPPs you could do like a lad. Trying to think who else you'd pair him. Maybe a lad Disley double, something like that. Maybe you
I
could go.
think Disley's super, like, we'll get to tight end, but I think Disley's super interesting on this short slate where he's been questionable all week. Hurst is out. Sure, Stone Smart's earned some snaps, but I think Disley's pretty interesting where nobody's going to be getting there because of that Q tag.
I was going to talk about him when we got to tight end, but I do like Disley quite a bit. I think Hunter Henry is going to be way more popular than Disley. And Henry is only $500 more, so it's super easy to kind of like construct your lineup in a similar fashion and play Will Disley. So I mean, I don't mind getting to the Herbert, lad Disley doubles in tournaments, but really in cash you could just go Herbert, J.K. Dobbins, and call it good in terms of your Chargers exposure. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like. I mean, Burrow's not going to get squeezed. Like he may end up being like the highest owned quarterback pretty easily. So I don't know if I want to play into the Burrow super chalk on this 3-game slate. So I think I'd stick it with Herbert and May, and then possibly as my third team, maybe get to Burrow. But I mean, some of these cheaper quarterbacks I just like more.
There are ways I think to still get a little bit different with Joe Burrow. I'm playing Mike Gesicki in my Burrow lineup as a way of getting a little bit different. I got a low-owned receiver, 2 low-owned receivers in there as well. So I think there are still ways to play Burrow today. He's just been so incredible. If it wasn't for their defense, which is weird to say, if it wasn't for how bad their defense has been, Joe Burrow would be right there prime in the MVP discussion with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson this year. Let's go to quarterback on FanDuel. Do you feel the same way over here as you do on DK with Justin Herbert being the top option? We do over here have, where there's less of a price discrepancy, Burrow, even though the ownership is high, the optimal rate is high too.
Yeah, I mean, because they're a little bit closer in price, it does make Burrow a little bit more enticing. Obviously, it's so much easier. Like, you don't really have to do a whole heck of a lot to go up to Burrow. I don't know. Like, I still feel like I'd almost rather play Herbert, but I mean, Burrow is way safer. You said you're playing 3 lineups, DJ?
Yeah.
So no Kyler, no Stafford for you, I'm assuming.
No, Arizona's missing a few offensive linemen. Connor's banged up. They haven't looked very good. I am worried about being underweight on Trey McBride. I had 2 Knicks lineups. I switched one to May, and one of the Knicks lineups did have Trey McBride, and I'm terrified now to not have any Trey McBride. But I'm comfortable fading Kyler, and I'm comfortable fading Stafford, as their offense has really been trending to a run-heavy approach, and I think they're just going to be able to run all over Arizona, and this is going to be like a fairly slow. I haven't checked the pace, but I just don't think. I think the Rams are really going to be controlling the pace of this one, and it's going to be a big Kyren day.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously I think Kyren is a fantastic play today. I just really like that Rams Cardinals game quite a bit. So I'm just wondering if I can get how I should get exposure to that game outside of Kyren. Possibly do like a Kyren McBride correlation, and then just skip out on the quarterbacks. But I mean, on DK, Kyler at 6K seems pretty enticing, but on FanDuel, Burrow is just so close to Kyler. Stafford's only 800 less. Herbert's only 500. You know what I mean? Like, so I think Burrow is just so much easier to play on FanDuel.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense there as well. I love the idea of doing the Trey McBride and Kyren Williams skinny stack there together, and that's how you get exposure to that last game. I think you can even do that with the Rams defense. Rams defense is my favorite among the defenses on the slate. Let's pivot over to running back here, and we'll stick on FanDuel first because this is where there's the biggest sore thumb, and that is J.K. Dobbins. They didn't think he was going to play yet. He is 4K flat, fell asleep at the wheel. I'm doing this on DraftKings anyways, but on FanDuel, it's even easier and better to just go Chase Brown, Kyren Williams, J.K. Dobbins, move on.
So you said you're going Dobbins and who else?
Kyren and Brown.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's definitely going to be the chalky way, the chalky build. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, he's 4K on FanDuel. I still think that's so funny. Yeah, they were not expecting him to be active. And so, like, if you went Brown, Williams, Connor, I mean, I think Connor's too expensive. Like you said, he's kind of banged up. I don't trust Ramondre at all. There really is no other combination of running backs that I would really want to play. So, I mean, I think eating the chalk at running back is probably what I'm going to be doing as well. I imagine that's what a lot of people are going to be doing. Or they're going to be playing a wide receiver or tight end and flex and not play 3 running backs, which I think is probably a pretty good tournament strategy. But I don't really have any interest in the Denver running back situation. I don't want to play into that at all. Yeah, so I mean, it's really just those 3 main guys.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it too. With Jaleel McLaughlin back, if I was running 150 lineups, for sure, I would take some shots on him in case he steps back into the lead role. I would take shots on Kamani Vidal just in case. I would take shots on Kamani Vidal just in case Dobbins doesn't get full work. I would take shots on Trey Benson just in case James Conner tries to give it a go and unable to. Same with Ramondre and Gibson. If I were running 150 lineups in 3, Chase Brown, Kyren Williams, J.K. Dobbins, I just can't get off of that chalk today. I have to go. I'm have to get different elsewhere, and that's where I'm looking to be playing it. Let's go to running back over on DraftKings. It's the same thing for me, but I do think it's easier to get off of those 3 there. Who are you looking to play on DraftKings at the running back position?
Yeah, I mean, not really much of a difference at all between the sites. Yeah, I mean, the Denver guys are
more expensive, but Chase Brown and Kyren are like even easier to get to.
Right. I was just going to say that the way that it's kind of evens itself out a little bit. So Dobbins is more appropriately priced, but like you said, Brown and Kyren are easier to play. Again, there's really I don't want to build into this Denver backfield at all. If they beat me, they beat me. They could beat me. If I was playing 150, would I get some exposure to McLaughlin or Williams? Yeah, I would. But I mean, in a 3 max or single entry setting, I'm not gonna go there. I would get to like a pinch of Vidal, I guess. But outside of that, it's still just this primary 3 guys of the chalky running backs of Brown, Williams, and Dobbins.
Yeah, same page for me here. Let's go to the receiver position. This is where I am starting to get a little bit different at some of my positions. I'm terrified of my Puka Nacua fade, but I don't have any Nacua in my 3 lineups. He and Trey McBride are the ones that terrify me. I did just build a smaller dollar lineup that has the Kyron and McBride mini stack, but Puka is currently going under-owned in our Sims tool. Optimal rate of 40%, ownership of 36. Jamar Chase is the guy that is looking to go. The field is saying, hey, I want to spend up for instead, and I am on the same page as he chases his triple crown. Cortland Sutton looks like he's in a great spot at 6,300. And then despite it, the 3-game slate, the cheap receivers aren't actually that bad when we take a look at them here. The cheap receivers, I think, are viable. Guys like Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, Marvin Mims is somebody I'm playing in my lineup. And then a super low-owned guy that I'm getting to, Kendrick Bourne. Played a season high in snaps recently, didn't get a ton of targets, but he's out there. And I don't think he and like Kayshon Boutte are really any different of plays. He's just cheaper and he's lower owned. Like Boutte will be on the field a little bit more, might get a couple more targets, but he also might not. And so I like Kendrick Bourne a lot at 3,300.
Yeah, I think he's a really, really solid pivot off of like the Marvin Mims type plays or the Boutte type plays. I also expect, a little bit of ownership going to Yoshi Voss as well at 3,800. So I mean, he could easily outscore all three of those guys at lower ownership and a lower price. So I mean, I think that's a really, really strong play. I think it's an exceptionally good play for larger field stuff. So yeah, I really like that call. Trying to think like who my must-have wide receiver would be. Like in like a cash game setting, it's probably Puka over Chase. I also think that you could maybe not play either Puka or Chase and just live in the mid-range of like Ladd, Sutton, maybe Boutte or like a Ladd, Sutton, Higgins type build. I think would be fine as well. So I don't think you absolutely have to play one of the highest end wide receivers, but I think if I were to choose one for cash, it would be Puka over Chase.
Yeah, I think I don't agree, but I understand. I'm going Chase in this spot, but I definitely understand. The sim has it lines up as them being the better play. I don't disagree. I mean, I do disagree, but I understand. I'm just on the other side of it.
I'm surprised that Cup is getting that much ownership. I feel like he's gonna fall like a little bit lower than that. Nobody seems to want to play Cup anymore.
Yeah, that's true. He's put up a couple duds in a row, but like still 22% on a 3-game slate. It's not that high. Coming in line with Kayshon Boutte. He's lower than McConkey, lower than Marvin Harrison. We didn't talk about Harrison, but he's kind of projecting well for that super cheap price. And I do think he's a very good fade at that ownership. He just has not looked good so far this season, nor has Kyler for what it's worth. But let's go to the receiver position on DraftKings. What about here? If you're prioritizing one, Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, who are you going with?
You mean on FanDuel?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean Chase at 9,600. I think that's too much to like make it an absolute priority. He's gonna have to really, really, really smash to pay off that price tag. I think it's got to be Puka. He would, and he's projected only for a little bit. He's actually projected for less ownership on FanDuel. So I'd much rather save the 900 and go with Puka over Chase. Again, you'll probably disagree with that, but that's just where I would go. And then, I mean, again, it's the same guys. It's Sutton, McConkey that I like a little bit lower. Boutte at 5,200, Demario Douglas at 5,000. They're really, really strong. I shouldn't say really, really strong, but they are strong salary savers. So I think that they're completely fine. At that cheap end, we've got, your Bourne call at 4,800 on FanDuel. I think the same thing applies on FanDuel as it does DK. Like, he's going to be cheaper. He's going to be lower owned. So, I mean, I think Bourne is going to be a really strong GPP play as well. So, I don't mind that call at all. But I mean, I think in cash, it's Puka over Chase for me, and then it's probably probably Ladd would be my next wide receiver in.
See, I understand the Puka over Chase call more on Duel, where the price difference is a little bit more. Sutton would be my priority over McConkey if I was choosing one of those two. But the price difference with Chase and Nakua, I totally get that, because if I'm looking at my lineup and I'm going, okay, I can get Nakua and Sutton or Chase and Quentin Johnston. Well, I'm picking Nakua and Sutton over Chase and Quentin Johnston every time. And so that's kind of how I'm looking at that one. Or like Chase and Marvin Harrison. I still think I like the Puka and Sutton or McConkey routes over having to go to Marvin Harrison there. So to me, while I still like Chase in a vacuum, the 2v2s make it so that I'd be maybe more likely to get to Nakua there. If I was running a lot of lineups on FanDuel, I would want, and it's the same case for DraftKings, I'd want to go Knicks and then just interchange these cheap receivers of Vele and Mims and Franklin and Will Jordan Humphrey, because they all get some deep shots, they all split snaps, and on a 3-game slate, it could be any of them that are optimal. So I'd want to get overweight on Knicks and then mix and match with his receivers there. Let's go to the tight end position where we have Trey McBride and a bunch of guys. McBride is $2,000 more expensive than Hunter Henry here. In cash, would you go McBride or Henry?
I'd probably just go Henry, because I feel like I want to prioritize spending my salary on some of these more balanced looking wide receiver type lineups. And if you go the Chase or Puka route in cash, you're running out of dollars pretty quickly. So I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell anyone that they can't play McBride in cash. I'm just saying what I'm doing, and right now I'm going Hunter Henry at 4,200. We already talked about it, but I really like Will Dissly in GPPs. I might even say that like in cash games, you could take a chance and go Dissly over Henry if you really need that $500. It is interesting to note that in Sims, when I look at positions at the flex, I'm getting 48% in wide receiver and 46% at tight end, and that's because those running backs are going to be so popular. So Sims is naturally going to take you on a different route in your flex spot. So
that is the easiest way and path to fading J.K. Dobbins and going the double tight end route, is like, say Dobbins finishes with 12 points, Dissly and Henry have 15, and you play both of them. All of a sudden, that's going to be a huge edge on the field.
Right. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So, I mean, it does make a ton of sense to get off that 3 RB build in large field and try to take a stab with double tight end or some kind of like mid-range wide receiver in the flex, because I mean the 3 RB in large field is going to be extremely popular.
Austin Hooper, I think, makes for an interesting pivot in large fields off of Hunter Henry. I do like Gesicki in my Burrow stacks. I think if you want to do a Bengals onslaught and afford everybody with Burrow, Chase, Brown, and Higgins, one way to do it is you throw in Drew Sample too. Hope he catches a touchdown at $4,300. And same thing with like Lucas Crow, I think is viable if you're playing a Bo Nix stack. That'd be the only way I would do it. But if you are playing Knicks, I think that is a viable option as well. Same thing on DraftKings. I have one punt where I'm using Lucas Crow at 2,600. I think you could do the same with Sample. If your lineup is a Burrow one, you could even play Sample and Gesicki together and do a big salary save there. I think Bengals onslaught lineups are very, very interesting, where it's a 3-game slate. You just say nobody on the slate scores more than 24 points except the Bengals, who have 45. I think that is very viable, and you just try and play as many of them as you possibly can. Defense in a cash setting, you try and get the Chargers or the Rams, I think. But if you want to punt all the way down to New England, I totally understand that as well. Those are the 3 you'd be looking at, though. Having said that, in tournaments, It's the randomest position, anything that can happen. You want to play Arizona, you want to play Denver, you want to play Cincinnati. All of them are totally viable as well. Let's start. We'll start taking some questions. We'll go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. Then we will go to the YouTube chat. Get your questions in. If you're in the season-long finals, we don't mind answering that as well, as long as they're not too crazy. Which do I start out of these 12 players? So just make sure you get your questions in. I see some news popping in. It's just NBA. Antonio Gibson to start at running back on Saturday. There you go. Antonio Gibson starting over Ramondre Stevenson. He is on DraftKings. Gibson is $5,200. And on FanDuel, let's see what Gibson is on FanDuel. $5,300. So super cheap on both of these sites. What do you want to do with Antonio Gibson now that their coach, Gerard Mayo, says he is going to be in the starting lineup? Now, does that mean he starts the first drive and Stevenson gets some discipline thing? And
didn't we see this? Didn't we see this early in the year when we had Gibson starting over Stevenson and it really didn't matter? Like Gibson played the first series, I'm pretty sure, and then that was it.
I feel like I remember something like that happening.
I'm pretty sure we've seen this before. I could be wrong.
I remember something similar, but I'm not positive. So would you say, how much is McConkey on DraftKings? 66. Dobbins and Sutton, or Gibson and McConkey?
What was the first one again?
Dobbins and Sutton, or Gibson and McConkey? Mario Dunyeezy is saying this isn't going to be like that. It's because of the fumbling issues for Stevenson, and Gibson's going to be the guy. And Data Baller's Almanac reminding us that, yes, that exact thing did happen earlier in the year as well.
I just don't see them. I don't see them just completely sitting Stevenson or having it even be like a 80-20 or 70-30 situation, but I could be wrong.
The fact that it's week 17 does worry me a little bit, like it's getting to the end of the year. But I also worry with the Pats likely coming from behind in this game. If we just get a lot of Gibson catches, like, couldn't you see this being a game where he runs for 28 yards, but he has 6 catches for 50 yards and ends up optimal?
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly it's a big upgrade for Gibson and a downgrade for Stevenson. I just don't know. I'm worried. I'm a little bit worried that we're going to overreact to this. Maybe that's my only thing that I'm saying. So yeah. I mean, Don Easy does make a good point that it should be a trailing script today.
That's the thing. That's why I'm worried.
Yeah, and then another commenter in chat said Stevenson had one of his best games of the year in the same scenario with Gibson starting. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of Stevenson in best ball, which didn't really work out. So I've been following Stevenson all year. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what the projection team does. I'm not sure what they're gonna do with the splits between those two.
Yeah, I just saw it in the projections chat that they have, in fact, realized that it's happening and that it's in the process of adjusting right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. I do see Stevenson projected for 9 points and Gibson at 7. I don't know if that was before or what it was like, though. It does say we got a projection update as of 1 minute ago. No, that is 11:43 a.m. So that was an hour ago. So yeah, I'm sure we're still going to get a new projection in with Gibson and Stevenson. This could vary. I don't think it changes from a cash consideration of it's still Dobbins, Kyron, and Chase Brown. I do think for GPPs, this makes Antonio Gibson more interesting, but it's super important to note this exact same thing happened earlier in the year. Stevenson was struggling, having some fumble issues. They go, Gibson starting, and he starts the first drive, and Stevenson still has one of his best games of the season. So play Antonio Gibson, but be wary. You know, like you can play him if you feel bullish. We're not going to talk you off of it, but definitely keep that in mind that something like this has happened before. As soon as we get that projection update, we will let you know how it adjusts. Questions, get them in the RotoGrinders live stream, Discord chat, get them in the YouTube chat. YouTube, smash that like button for us. And it's also still going into the holidays still with New Year's. We still got New Year's. It counts as holidays. Holiday season brings us some huge DFS contests for NBA and NFL. We want you to have a massive holiday takedown. So we're taking $10 off your first month of Combo Lite, and that means access to our SimLabs lineup building tool, the same one we've been referencing throughout the entire show, and content from some of your favorite DFS analysts like myself, like Tim, for just $19.99. That's cheaper than any of the Christmas presents you bought this year. It's an affordable subscription that has everything you need to build effective lineups, score big this holiday season. And if you haven't signed up for Splash Sports yet, now is still the time. Use promo code ROTO10, and when you play $100 in quick picks, you get another $50 right back. Splashsports.com/RotoGrinders homepage for more information. Check it out. Marie Donyezy's asking, do you trust Dobbins coming back from injury or Gibson in this shaky starting situation? I still think I prefer Dobbins. How about you?
I don't really trust either a whole lot, but I trust Dobbins more than Gibson.
Yeah, that's the same way that I feel about it. Gibson, I am worried that he just catches 5, 6, 7 passes today. And if that happens and I don't have him, I do feel like that's going to be a problem. But I like Dobbins better than I agree with you. Don't trust either of them, but I like Dobbins more if I'm choosing one. FanDuel Cash, Jamar Chase and Rams D, or Puka and Chargers D. This is where we differentiate the most, because I feel like I would rather Chase and Rams D. But I guess maybe if all that has to change is a defense, do you maybe prefer Chase over Puka as well? Because that's basically just like raw points, because Rams D and Chargers D is a coin flip.
Right. I think I'd still want to go Puka. I mean, the way that we have him projected in our RG projections is Jamar is 1/10 of 1 point higher. So it's not, they're pretty much tied.
So I missed that. Sorry, you going Puka and Chargers or
Yep.
Crazy guy. Are you playing any? If you were playing more lineups, large field, would you get to any Kamani Vidal?
Trying to think of, like, if I was playing a 20 max, maybe I'd put him in 1, and if I think that'd really be it.
Any player props that stand out to you? I haven't personally had a chance to look into any player props for this.
I was going to ask you if we were going to do a splash card, and I'm sure they
we can find one.
I'm sure they took down all the Ramondre props.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can put one together here. We got the time. We'll go share this tab instead. Play now. Do some quick picks over here on Splash Sports. And see, what do we got? So let's see. Any Ramondre taken down. Only 39.5 rushing yards, though. I still think I like the less on that.
You got 39.5 rushing. I have 41.5 on mine.
On your Splash?
Yeah.
Has it been a page that hasn't been refreshed in a while?
Oh, I just opened it.
Weird. I just opened it too. Either way, I think 10.5 rush attempts taking the less than that is the route. Because we're projecting a trailing game script anyways.
Yeah, I do like that. Yeah, I would do the less 10.5 rush attempts. I do like that.
All right. And then Chase Brown would be one I'd maybe want to take a look at, see if they have anytime touchdown. They do not. But even still, I think Chase Brown's 73 rushing yards is one that I like a lot in this spot. What do you think about that one?
I don't mind that one.
And then any others that you got off the top that we might want to look at here? Kyron Williams, I think, is going to get a very heavy volume
Yes,
this
definitely.
game. And so 20.5 rush attempts, that's a lot. What do we have him projected for rush attempts? Do you know?
I don't, but I can find out really quickly. Um, 20 and a half rush attempts.
So right on the number. So that one would be maybe one we could leave off, but Chase Brown rushing yards, Ramondre Stevenson less than 10.5 rushing attempts. Those are going to be our top two Splash Sports props for the day. Any other questions? Like I said, get them in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. Sorry if you guys can hear my dogs going crazy upstairs. But get your questions in RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. Get them in the YouTube chat. Smash that like button for us on YouTube. What do you think about Stafford in FanDuel tournaments?
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Like you were talking about like a Bengals onslaught stack. If I was going to be onslaughting a stack, it would be the Rams for me. So I really like the Rams today.
Yeah, if you can, finding a way to do like Stafford, Kyron, Steve Cup, and Nakua. Maybe a little Tyler Higbee in there as a salary saving lineup and just say they go all out against the Cardinals. I don't hate that at all. I do worry about the Cardinals. Their defense has people project well against them all year long, and they never really have big games except for running backs. The passing game, they just do such a good job of that bend but don't break defense. It is. I do worry about the passing game a little bit. Half point PPR. I think this is a fantasy finals question from G Medina. Love, Kyler, or Young? That's Jordan Love, I think, by a very wide margin this week.
Yeah.
And then James Cook or Dobbins, I think that's got to be James Cook as well.
Yeah, it's definitely James Cook.
So Love and James Cook are who you're running in there. Does Dobbins get full run today from Butthole Jenkins? Honestly, we have no idea, Butthole. We think he probably will be, but we don't know for sure. I would guess he's maybe not full go. He's not going to get 100% of the snaps by any means, but it'll probably be first two downs. You're looking at Dobbins, third down. You're looking at Kamani Vidal, something like that. Drake May or Herbert on DraftKings. Definitely Herbert for cash, but we both like May for tournaments.
Yeah, I think playing some May stacks are some pretty strong play today, but Herbert's way safer.
Best value play on DraftKings, just straight up. Who do you think is your favorite source of value?
Probably Booty.
Okay, Sean Booty. I think for me, it's probably Dobbins. Straight up, Neighbors or Lad McConkey?
That's a tough one. He's giving up. I guess I'd go Neighbors still.
Yeah, I think I would go Neighbors here too. I'm just double checking the projections. We have. Why can't I find? Because I excluded a bunch of players. They're basically projected the same. I think I would probably go Neighbors too, but that is a really, really tough one. Do you think Darius Davis is on play on FanDuel?
He was not somebody. I mean, we have projected for 1.5 targets. I don't know. He's not somebody. I like your Bourne play if you want to go. Bourne's what, 3,300?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather play Bourne at 3,300 than Davis at 31.
That was on FanDuel. I'm not sure what Davis on FanDuel is 46. So if you can get the $200 to get to Bourne, that's still the one.
It's still the same thing. Still the same answer.
Yeah. Favorite Pats wide receiver in single entry. Doesn't say the site. I would say on DraftKings, it's Bourne for me at 3,300 just because he's so cheap. On FanDuel, it's Demario Douglas with only a $200 price tag difference, still not picking up very much ownership. I like Douglas on FanDuel a lot. So different depends on the site for me. What do you think about Joshua Palmer for DK single entry?
Yeah, he's fine. I don't mind it. He's pretty decent value. So yeah, I don't mind Palmer.
If you can get up to with $100 more, or no, Demario Douglas is $100 less. So I like Douglas quite a bit more than Palmer in that spot. And I think I might even like Michael Wilson better, or if you can go, double tight end Hunter Henry. Let's see. What are the Pats playing for? Absolutely nothing.
We do have a question about the weather in New England. Roth has that game as yellow. It's going to get worse a little bit later, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be that big of a deal. So I would not let the weather affect my decisions in New England.
In Showdown, favorite MVP on FanDuel in the LA and Arizona game for tournaments. Kyron Williams for me. Who do you got?
It's still Williams for me.
If I were to do something large field, try and get different, I think I would go Trey McBride. But Kyron Williams would definitely be my favorite. James Duran says Stevenson and Gibson props untouched on a website called Hot Streak. So if you're playing that, or maybe that's a feature on another one of the sites, I'm not sure. But if you're playing Hot Streak, the props are untouched. Mayfield or Knicks for quarterback this week. That's Mayfield for me.
Yeah, it's Mayfield.
Jerome Ford, Tracy, or Abdullah for their flex. I would go Tracy in that one.
I agree.
McBride and Kendrick Bourne, or Gesicki and Sutton. DK Cash.
The first one.
I have Hunter Henry at MVP. Is that a good choice? I have 4 Patriots and Ladd. I don't know about that. I
think you'd want to add in another Charger, right? At least one.
Yeah, I think you need another Charger in that scenario, because it's tough to imagine a situation that Hunter Henry is the highest scorer in the game that in a lineup that also has 4 Patriots. If 4 Patriots are scoring that much, it's probably Drake May that ends up as the highest scorer for them. Juwan Jennings or Marvin Harrison Jr. PPR. It's Juwan Jennings for me. How about you?
Yeah, I do think Harrison could have a big game here, but I'd agree with you. Jennings is the safer choice.
All right, we got 1 minute left to lock. Everybody get your lineups in. Good luck today. We will be back. Tim and I will be back later this evening, 6 p.m. Eastern time, alongside our guy Will for some NBA crunch time, breaking down tonight's NBA slate. So make sure you tune in for that one. Good luck in all your games. We'll be back tomorrow as well for more NFL. Tim will be back bright and early, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time for Grinders Live. I'll be closing it down right up until lock for NFL crunch time. Make sure you smash the like button on your way out if you have not done so yet. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future shows. Make sure you're subscribed. Good luck today. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We will see you next time. Peace.